Let's just jump right in. We all know that being active is good for us, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder why your daily bike ride or your morning run doesn't actually do anything to lower your health insurance bill? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're looking at that strange disconnect between our healthy habits and our insurance premiums, and more importantly, the new technology that could finally bridge that gap. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we'll talk about the wellness dilemma. Then we'll get into the weeds of the insurance data gap. That's the real roadblock here. After that, the exciting part, how new tech can verify your every move, how that can unlock lower premiums, and what this all means for the future of insurance. All right, let's start with this really simple paradox. We're told constantly that exercise is one of the best things we can do for our health. All the science backs it up, so why aren't we getting a direct financial reward from the very companies that have to pay the bills when we get sick? It seems like a no-brainer. Yeah, think about it for a second. It's such a straightforward question. You're out there, you're putting in the work, you're staying healthy, and you're actively lowering your own health risk. It just feels like that should be worth something, something real, something you can actually see on your monthly bill. And look, this is not some small niche problem. The public health challenge we're facing is absolutely massive. According to the American Heart Association, a shocking 29 states now have an adult obesity rate of over 30%. That has a huge direct impact on healthcare costs for everyone. So the experts are pretty clear. Get 150 minutes of moderate activity every week. But even though we know the benefits, there's this giant gap between what's recommended and what people actually do. It kind of makes you wonder, maybe a different kind of incentive could help close that gap. So what's stopping the insurance companies from being that incentive? And that brings us right to the heart of the problem. This is what I like to call the villain of our story, the insurance data gap. This is the fundamental core reason why the people who calculate your premiums, the actuaries, just can't factor your healthy lifestyle into the price you pay. So what in the world is actuarial science? Well, to put it simply, these are the math wizards who power the entire insurance industry. They use data and statistics to predict the future, how likely you are to get sick, for instance, and they set your premium based on that risk. But here's the catch. Their formula is simple. No reliable data, no reliable calculation, period. The best way to understand this is to think about car insurance. You've heard of those little plug-in devices like Progressive Snapshot, right? They collect empirical data, hard facts about how you drive. It's reliable, it's verifiable. But health and wellness data, historically, it's been the total opposite. It's all self-reported, and you might be the most honest person in the world, but an actuary just can't build a risk model based on something you jotted down in a notebook. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The Society of Actuaries Research Institute flat out says it. It's incredibly difficult to prove the connection between wellness and cost savings because the data just hasn't been there. The benefits take years to show up, people switch insurance plans. It's just been a mess to track. So it really all boils down to this one thing. The entire system is missing one crucial piece of the puzzle: trustworthy, empirical data. Hard evidence. Proof. Without that, nothing changes. But until now, that piece has been completely missing. But what if that's all about to change? This is where we get to the hero of our story, the technology that can finally slam that data gap shut. And this is where things get really interesting. Okay, so the breakthrough we're talking about comes from a company called the Dandy Horse, Inc. They have a patented system designed to create the exact kind of data that actuaries have been dreaming of. It's a solution they call VIDAT, which stands for Verified Immutable Data for Actuarial Tables. The name says it all, right? This is data that can finally be trusted. So how does this whole thing work? It's actually a pretty clever four-step process. First, you attach these little electronic tags to your gear, your running shoes, your bike helmet, whatever. Next, a mobile app uses your phone's camera and security to make sure it's actually you. Then, as you're out doing your thing, the app tracks your activity and keeps checking to make sure those tags are right there with you. And finally, this is the magic part. All of that verified, empirical data gets sent off securely to create a rock-solid, trustworthy record. Okay, so we've got the verified data. The gap is closed. What's next? Well, the next logical step is turning that data into real, actual rewards. Because once you have the right kind of information, the whole equation changes for insurance companies. Now, a chart like this might look a little complicated, but the idea behind it is really simple. Actuaries built these models to predict costs over time. And to do that, they need reliable, predictable streams of data. With this new verified activity data from the VDOT solution, they suddenly have a powerful, brand new input for these models. And this is where the potential just becomes crystal clear. We already have solid research that shows huge health benefits from certain activities. Take this from the Journal of Transport and Land Use. Active commuters have way lower rates of obesity. Before, that was just an interesting statistic. Now it can be a verifiable data point that an actuary can actually use. This is the key. It's not just about tracking steps for fun. It's about creating data that's so reliable it meets the super high standards of the Actuarial Standards of Practice, or ASOP. This means that for the very first time, they can draw a direct, defensible line from, say, your verified bike ride to a calculated reduction in your long-term health risk. So what does that mean for you and your wallet? It means a chart like this goes from being a fantasy to a real possibility. By providing verified proof of your healthy habits, you could actually demonstrate that you're a lower risk, and that could finally lead to a lower premium. The financial reward finally lines up with the health benefit. So where is all of this headed? Let's zoom out, because this is about way more than just a new app or a cool gadget. This could signal a fundamental shift in how the entire insurance industry works. And this might have started with cycling, but the potential is huge. Imagine getting rewarded for verified trips to the gym. Insurers could start partnering directly with fitness centers. Data from all kinds of wearables and smart equipment could get pulled in, as long as it meets that crucial standard of being empirical and verifiable. Here it is. This is the big takeaway. For centuries, insurance has been reactive. It waits for you to get sick, and then it pays the bills. This kind of technology opens the door to a truly proactive model, one that actually rewards you for the things you do to stay healthy in the first place. It's a total game changer. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. If every single healthy choice you made, every run, every workout, every bike ride, came with an immediate, tangible financial reward, how might that change the choices you make every single day? It's a pretty powerful question, and it's one we might all be answering a lot sooner than we think.